Two superpowers have already fallen at the first hurdle. Rome and Carthage are out of the Divide Et Impera online tournament for Total War Rome 2. Now we look to the east and we'll see if Armenia or the horse tribes to the north can claim victory and move on to the next round. Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Jackie Fish, and as I said, welcome back to some more Total War Rome 2. We are back with the Colosseum tournament, and yes, today's going to be a very exciting and different battle because we have Armenia on the right hand side and we have the nomadic horse tribes of Sake up here to the far left. So again, two very different armies to what we have been used to seeing. Very horse focused, horse archers. The infantry is not going to be as important in this engagement, and again, a lot of missiles from both sides, so completely different from what we have been looking at and watching in the past engagements. We'll go ahead and pause the battle really quickly because this one is going to be explosive with all the cavalry charges, and just take a quick look at all the different types of soldiers that both these players are bringing. The tournament rules were that you can't bring no more than 10 of a certain unit. So for example, you can't just bring 10 or 11 cataphracts, you're capped out at 10, but besides that, there's not many other rules, which I kind of like. I like it. The factions can go a lot heavier on the focus rather than having like a rule of only 4 or something like that. So I do really enjoy the rules the Colosseum team have set for this tournament. So on the front line for Armenia, we have a pretty large contingent of slingers, and that's going to be mirrored again a bit further back as well. There's 2 lines of, I believe, 5 slingers on each line, which is going to be a very effective unit. This unit is going to be able to pick away at the enemy cavalry if it gets too close. That 190 range that they have is going to be very deadly. As we go further back, we do have some heavy infantry from Armenia. These guys are going to be able to really get stuck in and also withstand a cavalry charge or 2. So I think it's important to kind of have not a large infantry corps, but still a very nice one nonetheless. And again, these Armenian units have recently been added into the game, I believe, and they look absolutely beautiful. I think this was in one of the more recent updates, looking absolutely awesome indeed. As we go further back, again, we have some more of the heavy infantry. So these are just the Armenian legionaries. Again, a very awesome looking unit. As not as heavily armored as the front line, but still a very decent one. They're also going to have a lot of these slingers as well in this second line. So you have a slinger line here and a slinger line there, like I said. On the flanks, we just have a couple units of the heavy Armenian Legion spearmen. So again, a pretty sturdy line, and I love the sword scabbards that they have as well right there. Not that their swords are in the scabbards, but let's ignore that. So again, just some spearmen to help on the flank, and then the cavalry is going to be the main part of this battle for sure. We have some units of Armenian cavalry supported by the super heavy Armenian cataphracts, and then on the far flanks as well, we have some missile cavalry. Again, not a bad unit to harass the enemy. And is that it? Is this all the cavalry Armenia brought? I mean, it's still very good cavalry, but I'm a little bit surprised considering they're going up against the horde of horses. I mean, this is one flank right here. We have a ton of Sake raiders, riders. These guys, I believe, have javelin attacks. So they're going to be able to get 15 missile damage, so they're going to be able to throw a ton of javelins. But again, this is exactly what the slingers are going to be focusing all their ammunition on. On the front line, we can see that they have brought a pretty heavy contingent of hoplites. Again, a really smart move here. They're just planning on trying to hold this front line as best as they can. They're not looking to break through, and they're kind of relying on their cavalry to be doing all the damage throughout this battle. They also brought a very large contingent of these bowmen, these guys right here. And this is a really interesting unit and a very good nomadic unit as well, because they're an archer unit, but they also have a spear as their main primary weapon, which means they're actually pretty decent at fending off cavalry, which is going to give them a good advantage if the Armenian horses somehow manage to make it into the back line. I don't think they will, but still, 2 pretty strong factions going up against one another. And then obviously we do have the final line here. We have the general unit right here. We have a unit of, I guess, light infantry just kind of guarding that back line. And then on the right-hand side, we have the heavier melee cavalry. So it's kind of like very much raider-focused, javelins and all that horrible stuff on the left flank. And then on the right flank, we have just a slew of amazing-looking cavalry. I mean, again, oh, this horse looks so good. The armor, absolutely amazing. The sun rays. Yeah, absolutely beautiful unit. And then mixed in with some more of these heavier kind of Greek cavalry, melee cavalry. So you've got shock and melee over on this side. And it's going to really come down. It's like this battle is going to be won or lost lost on who micros their cavalry better, honestly. If the Sake player can go hard and micro his cavalry really efficiently, I think he's going to quite easily take this one just because cavalry is super strong and the hoplite wall is going to be very effective. However, if Armenia can utilize his javelins, if Armenia can go ahead and pin down his cavalry and get his infantry into them cavalry engagements efficiently, I think it's going to be a very, very, very close battle. And it's great to see both players taking a lot of missiles as well. I think missiles are so valuable and no one ever brings them. Maybe I'm just an idiot and I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But I don't know. I feel like missiles are still really strong and utilized. And they're not very expensive either. And here we go. The horse archers taking the initial volleys. And again, this is not a bad idea either because you obviously would much rather the skirmisher cavalry. Are these archers or these javelin men? Oh, they're archers as well. That's brutal. Yeah, immediately Armenia need to get these slingers around here because the slingers will do very, very good work against all of these javelin horses. And you can already see the amount of fire coming in, decimating this unit of Armenian cavalry. They need to get these slingers onto these horses like ASAP, and you can already see the micro management coming into play, really causing harassment. And this is also a pretty interesting strategy that Armenia can do. They need to try and push these guys to the red line. So if they were smart, they could push around here and try and corner this cavalry, because obviously this is going to run away, it's faster, but if they can pin it in this corner, then that could be an easy way to win. And realistically, I think that's what they maybe should have gone for, is just trying to pin this cavalry down. But because again, like, look at that, the red line is here. They could have tried to kind of close off the exit here and kill this cavalry. But then obviously it gives a pretty big rise to all of this cavalry coming in. And it seems like Saka are just going to be charging in. The Armenian men are going to go ahead and turn around, but it's a little bit too late. And these cataphracts are going to go flying into these sides before they can even form up. And that is a very nice javelin. However, this cavalry is going to immediately take a lot of javelin fire from all the Armenian legionaries, and they're going to get caught up by the spearmen. So a very, very nice move there to hit him the side. And realistically, this is all a distraction play right now. They're trying to keep the cavalry at bay. I think realistically as well, this cavalry should say screw these missiles and just go all the way over here, deal with the heavy cavalry. But yeah, these two units have gone in. They're obviously cataphracts who are taking heavy casualties from all the missiles, but they're mainly just distractions. Sake have so much cavalry that they can utilize that and just try and crush the center. Obviously, these Armenian slingers are going to get massacred by the cataphracts, and the cataphracts that are taking the damage from the javelins, from the infantry engagements, they're cataphracts. They're going to be okay. They're going to be able to hold that line for time, even though they do get enveloped right here, and you can see them. Look how awesome they are as well. They're huge maces. Probably a pretty effective unit to actually fight some of these legionaries, and you can see they're doing a good job as more cavalry wraps around. And there's just so much missile fire going off. Yeah, and they're doing so good. Picking away. I really like this move from Sake. They're picking away the lighter cavalry. They're not really heavily focusing on the cataphracts. They're just trying to reduce the numbers that they have available to them. And right now, yeah, this harassment is just really good. The cavalry taking some heavy casualties there from the slingers. But right now, Armenia is just way too static. They need to form a decent box and just fire away with their slingers. That's what this army is all about. And as you can see, we are going to be getting the cavalry from Sake retreating out of here, just trying to finish off as much as they can, and this is when they're going to be taking the damage. Obviously, they had to get out of that sustained fight. They were doing decently against the legionaries, but this cavalry is worth way more, so they're going to try and pull out of this engagement, and now this is where the slingers have the perfect opportunity. They also managed to get a charge off. Oh no, these guys aren't on skirmish mode, and they're going to get charged in. This is not bad for Sake. Obviously, when you're commanding a battle of this magnitude, it's hard to be micromanaging everything, but that was unfortunate. I would stick all of my cavalry on skirmish mode and then micromanage them. Luckily, they're able to quickly realize this and get the cavalry out of there. Probably only be losing about 20-30 horses, but that's going to be deadly if they don't get out. Luckily, though, that this cavalry is clumped up as well. Armenia need to be splitting the threats and, really enveloping their opponents. A lot of the archer fire coming in, and if anything, this is actually kind of good because now they can hold the enemy in place with a unit of shock cavalry and fire in with all of this raider cavalry into the Armenian cataphracts, which is deadly. This cavalry is still coming in, but it's taking a lot of missile fire, and the infantry just isn't being committed. I'm kind of a little bit confused right now. I mean, I guess they're just using the javelins, which actually that's exactly what they're doing. We're just using the javelins to kill this cavalry. The javelin's going to be way more effective here at killing the cavalry. And there you go. There's 2 units of cataphracts. That's not too bad. They traded a unit, like 2 or 3 units of slingers to kill all them cataphracts. It's kind of worth it for Armenia. They still are leaving their flanks kind of a bit exposed right here, but so far, so good. They've obviously been smashed by these horse archers who have just been volleying in like this and just picking away the horsemen. So they still very much have that cavalry advantage, but again, if I was them, I'd be looking to push forward, honestly. If I was Armenia, I think I'd be looking to get into this fight and just, I mean, then again, all these missiles are super scary. Because as you can see, there are a lot of these archers. And they'll rack up kills, like consolidated missile fire will be very, very deadly. And yeah, I think actually pushing up is the wrong decision looking at the battle, actually. Because if you push up in this battle, you're going to find yourself, obviously, with a lot less room, and this cavalry will just keep your cavalry busy, and then these archers will decimate you. So, a really nice build here, honestly, from the Sake faction, because these archers are basically completely safe unless they're fighting other missiles, because there's no cavalry that can charge them, because all the cavalry is busy back getting shot to pieces by all this cavalry, and obviously also taking a big brunt of all these cataphracts. So bringing these missiles up is going to be very effective, because you're going to see a lot of these missiles go to town, and I think now will be a great opportunity to go ahead and move in your skirmish cavalry, because none of these slingers can focus on them horse archers anymore, because they're focusing on all these archers, and these archers are just mainly trying to kill up some of this heavy infantry. Again, not a bad idea. I also think maybe killing the slingers would be a pretty good idea. And you can start to see some of the other infantry moving up, because again, you're not going to win the infantry, so I guess maybe you actually do need to kill the infantry, because you're not going to be able to kill it any other way besides your missiles, because that obviously the heavy phalanxes aren't going to defeat these guys. So maybe focusing this infantry down is going to be a good idea, but the Sake player does change his focus to taking down these slingers again. I think that's, again, a pretty good idea. Your cavalry is there to rout the enemy rather than kill it, I guess. And again, there's no slingers being brought over. I mean, there's a few slingers being brought over, but the main focus is all the way back here. Armenia are now boxing up, which I think is a really smart idea. And they're also getting some slingers back here as well to deal with this cavalry. The cavalry will get melted if they put enough slingers into the back of this, which they haven't done, unfortunately. I think that was probably the biggest mistake from Armenia in the early game, was just not putting enough slingers onto these guys. But now they're starting to bring over a few more, and as I said, they will tear apart after the first couple volleys. They will tear apart this horse archer cavalry. You can see it's already getting quite close to routing one of the units, and this will just kind of rack up the more they do. And already you can see them having to pull out a skirmisher range. But again, the Armenian slingers are so effective that they can just keep on causing harassments. Oh, and this could be interesting. The Armenian cavalry is pouncing. If I was Sake right now, I'd move everything into this and just take this fight. This is a fight that their cataphracts can easily win, and there's not really much movement going on here right now. So if I was them, I'd pour into everything and just deal with the last 3 units of Armenian cavalry, pull out here, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're kind of biting them in, and Armenia has like an option to do. They need to either fall back their army, and I think that's a good idea. Just bring everyone back and just try and get infantry into this fight, because as you can see, the cavalry, the nomadic horses are, I was about to say rushing over here. Actually, is this Armenia? Yeah, the cavalry is coming over here, but the main horses over here are moving in to go ahead and engage, and this is good melee cavalry as well. Not only that though, Sake are looking just to dive in the rest of the fight. The archers have done a really effective job. I mean, there's just so many, and there's just no slingers left either. There's a few slingers left, but they're all in the back, and these archers are just going to go to the flank now and cause harassment. The cavalry has come in, and this is a very brutal battle. I think the Sake army is very well crafted. I don't know if there's many ways to defeat it besides bum rushing the center and just killing their hoplites, enveloping them, and then just basically having multiple lines, kind of like Armenia has. Because I think Armenia are in a very, very tricky situation right now. They've lost their cavalry. Their archers are now into the flank, so all these archers can just shoot into the heavy legionaries' flanks. And now this front line of hoplites can basically just defend it. So yeah, a really nice army here by Sake. I'm actually like super impressed with how effective this army has been crafted and is playing right now. I think, yeah, the best way, I don't know how to defeat something like this. I guess just bring more cavalry to pin down the enemy, and a lot more slingers as well. But then all these archers is brutal. Yeah, I guess it's a lot more cavalry. And then just try and smash the center. We are getting the beautiful Armenian general though charging into battle, and he will decimate this Sake archer unit. But again, this light cavalry has already racked up a decent amount of kills. The rest of the Armenians are moving in, and here you go. The forces are moving in to fight them. And obviously the Armenians have a good advantage here. They are fighting heavy cavalry, but heavy phalanxes. But again, they're able to actually get a really nice charge off, which is super good. And they can get stuck in. And I think, honestly, even from the front, these elite Armenians will win the battle here. Because, as you can see, they are elite Armenians. And, yeah, I mean, they're very strong. These hoplites aren't exactly super well set up. But, again, they have received some missile fire. But, yeah, I think they'll break the center. And I think that's the way to defeat this army, is destroying the center. Because even though these are super heavy phalanxes, they've already taken a decent amount of damage to the top-tier elite infantry. So I think, honestly, that is how it goes down. But unfortunately, I think Armenia maybe waited a little bit too late. I mean, I keep on writing them off, but I find it hard that they're going to win this after all this cavalry goes off. And now, obviously, the cavalry has claimed victory here and can start to move in. However, the slingers are getting some good shots off, but immediately they're going to get brought down. And all of this archer fire just focusing down at a couple light units here, getting some good shots off, able to shut down these slingers as well. And yeah, as you can see, all this cavalry just really able to go down. But if we take a look at how this battle has been... no, the hoplites have formed up now, so they're able to create some distance. And yeah, really hard to break down. They are taking casualties, though. Cavalry, though, who have won the rear. Look at all this cavalry still available now. They're just going to move in and basically continue to cause harassment. Finish up these slingers, and then just hammer and anvil into this front line. More shot cavalry stuck in along with the cataphracts as well. Fully engaged into heavy infantry, but it doesn't really matter that they're fighting heavy spears because their main goal is just to kind of keep these units at bay. And now you can start to see the phalanxes moving around the side, and it's just so much consistent missile fire as well. Just volleying in and yeah, doing some really nice damage into the backs of all of this infantry. And the rest of this legionary infantry obviously is going to make their way back and try and get stuck in here. They've also formed, I think they have a testudo of their own. Is this a testudo, or are they just in a tight formation? Either way, they're going to be getting thrown up here. And look at this, you've even got some of the Sake phalanxes charging in as well, into the back of these guys. Might not be the best idea, but as well as that, they've also got a ton of cavalry just constantly hammer and anviling. And once again, I believe they have this one in the bag at this point. A war cry stuck off onto the Sake general, but there's no way he's going to be going down in this battle. The cavalry still just harassing the enemy lines. And yeah, it's just all this like missile fire. Regardless of what the missile fire is, there's just so much of it. And because the cavalry of Sake have just been able to pin down the mobility of Armenia, all their archers just have free reign to move around here, and they can just skirmish to their heart's content. And the cavalry just can't really do much whatsoever. More of the lighter spears now moving in. And again, these guys are actually pretty okay. They're actually not a bad unit to throw in the foot archers. Just throwing themselves in. And then all this cavalry charge going in. A nice little charge there from the Armenian general. But he's going to be going right into phalanxes. And you can already see this phalanx wall really closing off their opponents. And again, just more of this cavalry following. Obviously, going to be pursuing the Armenian general with full force. The cataphracts, the melee cavalry, and the horse archers. Just going to try and pin him down. Because once you cut the head off the snake, that's going to be GG for the Armenian general. And the Armenian army as well. And his numbers are dropping very fast. Regardless of whether or not he is a cataphract unit, he is being pinned down. And yeah, trying to get out of there, but not going to be finding too much success with that. You can see his numbers dropping down to 63 men, and there's just so much cavalry now, and that's going to be GG for sure. And yeah, this is just a really strong army. I think they definitely can break through the center with this army for Sake, but I'm really curious about what faction's going to do. But now they've seen this battle, they can kind of understand that this is probably one of the stronger armies that they can bring. So obviously the people going up against them in the next round can take a look at this and be like, okay, how do I beat this army? I honestly think you probably beat this army by building a ton of missiles, like bringing a crap ton of missiles, a ton of spears, and also a ton of cavalry. Basically just mirroring what they're doing, you know, mirroring what Sake are doing, but just bringing either better missiles to deal with the enemy cavalry, or bringing a ton of spears and just waiting for Sake to commit through. I always say this, whenever you're at a cavalry disadvantage, you always want to have the cavalry fights here and here. If your main battle line is there, You want to draw the enemy in and you want to engage them here, because this way you can reinforce infantry. And I think that's how you beat this army, is you match their missiles, you match their front line, and then you just bring in more spears to help you out. You bring more missiles, or you bring, at least maybe not more missiles, but you bring missiles to help out and harass the enemy raiders. I mean, you bring cavalry that can at least withstand the enemy cataphract charges, and then you bring in missiles to hit them at range and basically force them either to back off so that your front line can engage their front line, or you force them to have to commit into a fight, which you can bring more spears in quicker. So I think a lot more lighter spears, javelins, skirmishers for once the enemy's pinned down would be a good way to deal with this army. But yeah, it's going to be a hard one. I think we have a real contender. This battle was played pretty well as well. Micro-wise, there was maybe like one or two mistakes, but hardly any. And Sake played this battle very, very well. So I'm going to be very interested to see how this one does go on. And this is a faction I want to follow all the way to the final if they make it, because yeah, without Rome in the game and without Carthage in the game, it's really up to the Greeks. And but yeah, the Greeks are going to be a very powerful faction. I'm really interested to see how a barbarian faction deals with an army like this, because like a lot of the high tier barbarian armies are pretty slow, but they have so many numbers that they can kind of withstand a lot of the archer fire coming in from the raiders. They have very good missiles of their own to kill the raiders. They have light cavalry. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I feel like barbarians have a really good shot at defeating an army like this, just because they have very heavy infantry that can deal with the phalanxes. They have very good missiles. Their cavalry is not going to be as good as Sake, but still a very strong faction. I think they just have the numbers as well to maybe withstand the archer fire, to withstand the raiders, and still have the substantial numbers to overrun the enemy. Gonna be very interesting. Either way, massive shout out to both players. You guys had a very, very good game. I think Armenia's army was very strong. It's just, yeah, this one was very, very strong and super scary. If I saw that, not knowing that they were going to build an army like that, I'd be taken off guard. And yeah, that was brutal indeed. But yeah, as you can see, the numbers as well, only losing 1,500 men was pretty impressive as well. And even all these archers as well. Yeah, look at the archers, all with 100 kills. That's good. And the cavalry, 100 kills plus. Super impressive stuff. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this battle. If you want to keep on seeing these Colosseum battles, make sure to drop a like and a comment down below. It lets me know that you are enjoying this series and you want to see me take this tournament all the way to the final. If you are, obviously, as I said, drop a like and a comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one.